Hello, boys and girls. Surprise, we're going to do some math during our language arts lesson. And the reason we're going to do that is because there's a perfect opportunity to talk about elapsed time in our novel. And time is something that I know some of us are still struggling with, so it never hurts to review and to practice. Okay? So, in our novel on page 77, you are going to get out your notebook and you're going to do these problems along with me. And on page 77, it says, after the first day, they had learned that the staff worked from 9 a.m. until 5 p.m. Okay, so the work schedule was just like their father's. And we're going to try and figure out what the elapsed time is between 9 a.m., the start time, and 5 p.m., the end time. Elapsed time is the time that happens in between. Okay, so that's a lot of time. You can always visualize a clock in your head and try to work around the clock and add it up. But I have another strategy I want to show you that is really helpful, and it's called a T-chart. So in your notebook, I'd like you to try it this way. Okay, you're going to write what we know. We know the start time is 9 a.m. and we know the end time is 5 p.m. And then all you do is make a big T on your page, and on one side you're going to put add, and on the other side you're going to put new time. Okay, so go ahead and do that. While you're doing that, I just want to point out that we have a start time in AM hours and an end time in PM hours. How are we going to deal with that? Let's see. Okay, so now that you have your chart, let's do this together. Okay, so here's what we do. We know our start time was 9 o'clock. So we're going to add in chunks of hours because that makes it real simple. So on my add column, I'm going to put 1 hour. I'm putting HR for hour. And then on the other side, the new time, you just add that hour to 9 o'clock and you get 10 o'clock. Okay, then I'm going to add another hour. Add that to 10 and I get 11. I'll add another hour. I add that to 11 and I get 12. Now here's where we need to stop and discuss. Okay, so far we added 3 hours and then we made the new time on our new time side. We're at 12. Okay, if we stop and take a look at a clock, we know that we need to switch from AM to PM here, but how are we going to do that? Well, we know that if you go around the clock, each rotation is 12 hours, and there's 2 12-hour rotations in a day. One rotation is for AM, one rotation is for PM. So now, if we look, here's the 12, we're going to go to 1 o'clock and proceed on from there. So, now that we've checked our clock, we can go back to our add column and keep going, okay? So 1 hour to 12 we know is 1 o'clock, 1 o'clock p.m. Keep going because we haven't hit our end time yet. 1 hour to 1 o'clock would be 2 o'clock, and so on. Another hour, 3 o'clock. Another hour is 4 o'clock p.m. and one more brings us to 5, and that's when we stop. We stop when we get to our end time. Okay, now all we have to do to get the elapsed time, the time that went by, is to go to our add column and add 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Our answer is 8 hours of elapsed time. Okay? All right? So here's what I'd like to happen now. Let me read you the next part that sets up the next problem for us, and then you're going to pause it. You're going to try it on your own using a T-chart in your notebook, and then you can play it once you've given it a shot and watch what I do and make sure that it matches. I want you to try it on your own using this strategy to see if it works for you, okay? So the next problem in our novel on page 77 Jamie is talking about that first call he had on that first morning where they almost got caught. And it says, so time from 8:45 until some safe time after 10 in the mornings was spent under various beds. So Jamie does not specifically say what time after 10, so we're going to make our end time 10 a.m. So you're going to start your problem with 8:45 a.m. and that's your start time, and your end time is going to be 10 a.m. I want you to use a T-chart to tell me what the elapsed time is between those two times, okay? So pause it here and I'll be back and we'll do it together. Okay, so now let's try to do that second problem together. So hopefully you set it up like this. You put your 8:45 start time, a.m., to 10 a.m. end time, and then you made your T-chart, okay? One side is add, one side is the new time, right? Okay, so the first thing I noticed is that we're in a.m. on both times, so we know we don't have to worry about changing from a.m. to p.m., so that's much simpler this time. The next thing I notice is that we've got some minutes to deal with here this time. So it's 45 minutes, so that's very simple for us to break up because we know that the clock is broken up into quarters, and 45 is one of those quarters. So let's take a look. My clock is really handy because you see the different colors divide my clock up nicely into the 15-minute quarters of time. So 45 minutes would be the yellow is 15, then we have a half an hour, then we have 45. With 1/4 left, we know there's 15 minutes to make one more hour. So I'm going to add 15 minutes to my add column. That's how I'm going to handle it. I think it'll be easier that way. Okay, so 15 minutes. Now the new time, if we add 15 minutes to 8:45, is going to be 9 a.m. Now we've got a nice easy full hour that we can just add another hour to because we haven't hit 10 yet. So 1 hour on our add column. The new time is going to be 10. And just like that, we're already done. We hit the 10 o'clock end time. So all we have to do is go back and add the time that we put on, and we get 1 hour and 15 minutes. So the elapsed time between 8:45 and 10 a.m. is 1 hour and 15 minutes. That's a long time to be hiding under a bed, don't you think? Okay, so I hope that this strategy will help you when practicing elapsed time. It's always something you can go to. It works for any problem you can think of, and it's a good strategy to see and keep things separate, what you're adding and the new time that you're making. Now you're going to do some practice on time in your math workbook, and that page number is, let me see if I can find it for you quickly, page 113. It's not elapsed time, it's just time practice because we can always benefit from practicing time. It's something we use every day. Okay, thanks so much. I'll see you guys soon. Bye.